This is a Dark Illumination Report Extra with RJ Womack.
Hi everybody, Brother Nero here, and I'd like to welcome you to this first episode, or the second episode of Season 3 of the podcast. And before we get into the main topic today, I'm just going to let you know a few things that are going on. First of all, I've decided that I'm going to try to get a book out by the end of the year. I'm not going to give you specific dates because, as I said, I'm a terrible procrastinator and I tend not to accomplish my goals, especially if I set deadlines. I have a deadline in mind, but I'm not going to tell you that because I don't want to let you down and I don't want to make promises I'm not going to keep. So I won't be talking about that until it gets much closer and until the manuscript is complete. But what I will tell you is that my plan is to get a book out by the end of the year, close to the end of the year anyway. So that's that. And then the second thing I want to talk to you about is in a few weeks, I'm going to be launching an advertising page that will allow people to buy advertising on this podcast if they so choose. Now, to start with, it's going to be fairly inexpensive because I want to encourage people to advertise on the program. It will go up as the demand goes up, if it goes up. And one of the reasons I'm doing this, well, there's two reasons I'm doing this. Number one is I want to encourage entrepreneurship and business in Satanism. So I want to encourage theistic Satanists to start their own businesses or to promote their businesses if they already have one. That includes indie authors and independent label bands or indie bands or filmmakers or whatever the case may be. So if you think you have a product or service that would be of interest to this audience, I would please ask you to check back with me in a few weeks and I'll give you a web link and we'll start having advertisements on the podcast so that you can advertise your products. And the second reason I'm doing this is because I'm hoping to generate some money for myself to help me fund my books and other projects, but also I want to add some special things to the show, especially for the holidays. And so in order for me to do some of the things that I want to do, it requires money. So I'm hoping that I'll be able to generate enough money from advertisements to help me pay for some of these special surprise projects that I want to do for the holidays, the solstices and the equinoxes. So I hope that you will support the show. I hope that if we get advertisers, you will support the advertisers. I hope if you are a business owner or you're thinking about starting a business or you want to promote your band or your music or your art even, you will think about placing your ad on this show, and we will try to keep it relatively inexpensive, but we hope to get to a point where we'll be able to advertise or ask for advertising rates that are on par with other shows that are popular. So we are looking to make as much money as possible so that we can do really interesting projects, because I have a few things in mind, but I won't talk about those right now because I don't know if they're going to come to pass. I don't know if we're going to have the money to do them. And I'd hate to bring them up. And then if we fail to raise the money and we're not able to do them, I'd feel like I was letting you guys down. So again, just like the book, I'm kind of hinting at what I've got going on or what I've got planned, but there's no guarantees for any of this stuff. So it's really up to you guys. If you have a product or service you want to advertise and you think we can help you get that audience, or you think that this show will build up and have the audience that you think you're interested in, please contact me. All right? So let's get on with the show. The first thing I want to talk about is what a life plan is. And as you may know, if you're already kind of a goal setter and you're kind of into personal development, you probably already know what a life plan is. So I won't have to explain it to you. But for those of you who don't know, a life plan is basically a way to keep your life focused and directed in a certain direction so that you can achieve your goals and so that you can achieve the things you want to achieve in life. For example, in your life plan, you'll write down your life's purpose. You will write down your core principles, those things which you are not willing to compromise for anyone. And you will write down your goals in every major area of your life. Now, over the next few episodes, we're going to be discussing each one of these parts of a life plan in detail. And I'm going to explain to you why I think it's critically important for you as an individual Satanist to have a life plan, while I think it will help you in your life, why I think it will help Satanism in general, and why I think it will benefit both you and Satanism, both. And I think it's something that has to be done. Now, before I get into the details of the life plan, I just want to say something. Typically, religious Satanism in particular is considered the realm of the black metal kids or the goth kids. And people have this image of Satanism as the realm of the dumb and stupid people who are uneducated and don't know anything and don't have a job and are basically losers, okay? Now, you and I may know that's not true, but the public doesn't. And I'm tired of Satanism being portrayed that way. I think it's disrespectful to the people who believe in Satanism. I think it's disrespectful to Satan himself. And I want to use this podcast to change the way people perceive Satanism. And the way I want to do that is by using this podcast to promote a more professional, more adult approach to religious Satanism. Now, before anybody gets upset or thinks I'm trying to turn this into a self-help podcast or a podcast that's all about personal development, all about goal setting, I want to be clear. Everything that I do has Satan at the center of it. And my desire is to make Satanism better and to help Satan's kingdom. That is my desire. I mean, Satan is everything to me, and Satanism is my central focus. So I wouldn't be doing this if I didn't believe it was critically important for the future of Satanism to do this. I think one of the biggest problems I have with the average Satanist is what I've found is that they have no direction. They tend to feel lost. And this is not just my opinion. This is what I've seen, especially from young Satanists. They have no sense of direction. They have no focus. They're all over the place. And it's really not their fault, because where do they have to go to get advice or to get counseling? And as I pointed out to Marie Ravensoul in a personal conversation I had with her not too long ago, I said, part of the reason why this atheism stuff has taken off so much in Satanism is because religious Satanists aren't setting the example for future Satanists, for young Satanists. We're not around. We don't give them any organizations to belong to. We don't give them any counseling or any mentorship. We can't really blame them for going with what's popular or what's available out there, because we as theistic Satanists or religious Satanists have failed so badly at doing our job. And that's one of the reasons why I decided to bring the podcast back, because I realized as a minister, I haven't been doing my job. And it's one of the reasons why I'm trying very hard to get a book out this year, because I realize I've failed in my obligations to Satan because I have not been promoting the ideas and the message of Satanism the way that I should. I've been distracted, just like I'm saying that the young kids are, and many of us are. And in fact, many of the things that I'm going to talk to you about in this episode, I'm going to talk to you about because of how distracted I've been. I'm using these very techniques that I'm going to talk to you about to try to get myself focused and to get better results this year as far as my ministry work goes. And so I guess we'll see if these techniques work, because if they do work, then I should be achieving some results, and I should have a book out there by the end of the year, and I should be more consistent with my podcast, and the audience should be built up, and hopefully we'll build a community of Satanists that want to change Satanism. That's what I'm hoping ultimately comes from all this, is that the listeners of this podcast will become a community of people that want to see Satanism taken more seriously, that want to devote themselves to a more devotional approach to Satanism, and want to see Satanism treated as a more serious religious faith, and to have the focus of Satanism put back on Satan. Now, I don't know if the audience for true religious Satanism is that big. I really don't. This is just as much an experiment for me as it is for you to see if you're out there. So if you are out there and you do agree with what I'm doing, please let me know. I mean, write me, give me a like on this podcast, drop me a note on Facebook. Let me know that you care about this. And if you do, tell other people about it, because see, to me, I just believe it's time for a change in Satanism. And I think one of the ways we do that is by promoting entrepreneurship, by promoting professionalism, by promoting goal setting and all that sort of thing, because that's the antithesis of everything that the typical stereotype of Satanism is, and Satanists are. That's what people think we are. They think we're all a bunch of black metal kids. They think we're all a bunch of people that hate our mommies and daddies and are antisocial and social rejects. And I think we need to really work on changing that imagery. And I think the only people that are going to be able to do that, the only people that will succeed at that are the adult Satanists, the people who, have families, that have lives, that have things going on, and are trying to do something, trying to be somebody in life. Because otherwise, nobody will ever take Satanism seriously. And that's not Satan's fault. It's not Satan's fault that people don't take their commitments to him seriously. It's their fault for mistreating him and disrespecting him and just kind of treating him like he's their buddy and their pal and just a mate they can hang out with. And he's more than that. He's a god, and the demons are gods, and they're disrespected regularly. And it just drives me up a fucking wall, to be honest. But anyway, getting back to the life plan. So the first and most important thing about a life plan is determining your life's purpose. And you may not know your life's purpose, but you may have an idea. And even if you don't have a life's purpose, the first thing you need to do is write down what you believe your life's purpose is. And why finding your life's purpose is important is because I believe every Satanist is born with a purpose, is born with a true will, some reason that their soul is created for. In fact, that's what "do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law" means in Thelema, is it means finding that purpose for which you were born. Your soul has a true purpose for which it was created, and you will only be happy when you find that. And since I believe that the book of the law, the philosophy of the book of the law, was inspired by Satan, as Crowley did, and Crowley said that Satan, Lucifer, the devil, was the god behind the book of the law, I think it's incumbent upon all of us to find our true purpose. And the reason that I think this is so important is because over the years, I've done a lot of things that got me off track, that got me off my true purpose. And it's because I didn't have a life plan. It's because I didn't have a sense of direction. And I just kind of went with the flow of things. And when you go with the flow of things in Satanism, you tend to get off track. It's just the way it is. It's not just Satanism. I shouldn't say that. We all have problems in our life. We all have major distractions. We all have relationship issues. We all have things that keep us from our true purpose. And the whole purpose of a life plan and writing down your purpose, the purpose for which you believe you're here, it gives you something in writing that you can review to make sure that you remind yourself of what your purpose is and make sure your life is going in the direction you want it to. Because your life will not go the way you want it to if you don't constantly review your life goals and your life's purpose and your core values that you're not willing to compromise. So that's the whole purpose of a life plan, is to have a written plan of a few pages that details every aspect of your life and what you hope to accomplish over a period of between 12 months to 10 years. And what you do is you break down all your goals for the next 10 years, all the way down to year one. And you basically review that every week to make sure that you stay on track. Now, your life plan is not written in stone. You don't have to follow it and never change it. You can change it as you grow and as you change and as you evolve. But the idea is that it's a roadmap to keep you on track, to make sure you're going towards your goals instead of away from them. And one of the reasons I feel this is important for Satanists is the fact that I've said, I believe that every Satanist is the architect of their own destiny. And in order for you to achieve your destiny, you have to know what it is. You have to give it some thought. And the life plan will make sure that you take some time out of your week, every week, to review what you believe your purpose is and to make sure you're on track. So that's what we're going to be talking about over the next few episodes. And I'm going to break it down and go over each individual part and talk to you about how to do it. And I hope that this will help you, and I hope you'll find it beneficial. And in the end, I'm going to try to tie it all back to spirituality and why I think it's important as well. So I don't want you to think that this is going to become all about self-development. Like I said, I really want you to understand that there is a spiritual purpose behind everything that I'm doing. And I hope to see you next week. Until then, guys, have a good week. May Satan be with you. I hope to see you here again. Take care. Later.
Thank you for listening to the Dark Illumination Report podcast. For the latest news headlines, show information, and more, go to rjwomack.com. That's rjwomack.com.